ask Judy Altenberg to lead us in the Motzi.
Several months after his appointment as Prime Minister, Mr. Gharbashvili visited Israel for the first meeting of the Israel-Georgia Joint Economic Commission. During that trip, he called Israel a friend and strategic partner. In November, he attended the opening of the Museum of History of Jews of Georgia and praised Georgian Jews for their active involvement in the reconstruction of Georgia and the life of the country. Mr. Prime Minister, we are a community of leaders and philanthropists who have shown a tremendous commitment to the Jewish federations throughout North America.
Good evening, dear friends. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to Georgia. I am really very excited you have come such a long way to visit my country. And I know you will have an exceptional visit. I'm also very happy to meet such a distinguished group of leaders and meeting exceptionally young people committed to being global citizens and making this world a better place always gives me such hope. Leaders such as you have been the driving force behind much of the modernization of Georgia. Since the end of the Soviet Union, Georgia's youth have dedicated themselves to making this country a better place. And some of our most important reforms have been led by people very much like you. Dear friends, the Georgia of today is another world as compared to 2 decades ago, or even 2 years ago. Every aspect of our country, from healthcare and education to political stability and national security and economic development, has significantly improved. A wide range of international rankings have demonstrated this transformation over the years. And Georgia today is a leader and model in the region in terms of economic development, democratization, political stability, the rule of law, and the fight against corruption. A key component in Georgia's development path has been our European and Euro-Atlantic integration. Our commitment to aligning more closely with the EU and NATO goes hand in hand with our commitment to continued economic and democratic transformation. I hope your visit to Georgia provides you the opportunity to learn about Georgia's remarkable changes, but also a chance for Georgians to learn from you. By working together, we can harness the creativity and entrepreneurial spirit of young minds and channel it into making all of our home countries better. I'm primarily interested in using this time to answer your questions, but I want to take a moment to tell you a little about Georgia's relationship with the United States and Israel, two of Georgia's most important allies and strategic partners. First, the U.S.-Georgia relations. I want to tell you very honestly that the United States is Georgia's premier strategic ally. The shared values of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law embodied in our two nations' mutual commitments constitute a solid, long-lasting foundation for the enduring partnership between Georgia and the United States. Personally, it brings me a great joy to witness the consistent strengthening of this friendship. Our soldiers have served shoulder to shoulder around the world, from Afghanistan to Iraq to other international missions. And beyond this security cooperation, our business people, our scholars and experts have greatly benefited from enhanced bilateral ties between our countries. And soon I have to tell you that our students will be able to obtain degrees from U.S. colleges in Georgia. Let me also emphasize that we are extremely grateful to America for the continued and unwavering support of Georgia's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as our European and Euro-Atlantic aspirations. The United States has an important role to play in ensuring the security and stability of Georgia and the wider region. And the deepening of existing bilateral strategic locations dialogue is one of our foreign policy's most important priorities. The work done within US-Georgia Strategic Partnership Commission is crucial in this context, and we look forward to advancing rapidly in all areas of cooperation. I also want to tell you about Georgia-Israeli relationship. The bilateral relations between Georgia and Israel have been indeed exemplary throughout Georgia's history. Why? Because more than that, the history of Jews in Georgia has been one of deep support and affection. Last year, we celebrated 2,600 years of Jews in Georgia. As part of this celebration, we completed the rehabilitation project of the David Bazov Museum of Jewish History of Georgia. And this was fully sponsored by my predecessor, Mr. Ivanishvili. And thank you. And we also restored the synagogue in Oni. This is one of the most beautiful districts in Georgia. In recent years, 7 other synagogues were restored throughout Georgia, including those in Poti, Senaki, Martvili, Tsageri, Gori, Vani, and Kareli. And all these works, all these rehabilitation works, were fully sponsored by Mr. Ivanishvili. So once again, I want to thank him for this charity. I hope you do have a chance to visit some of these wonderful buildings and monuments to our friendship. In our small Orthodox Christian nation, Jews have always been welcome. The Jewish community in Georgia has thrived no matter who was in power, because the Georgian people, first of all, will not tolerate discrimination against their Georgian brothers. And Georgian Jews and Christians have survived together and thrived together. Since entering politics, I have had the chance to visit Israel many times. First as interim minister, then as prime minister. And I have also hosted many Israeli leaders here in Georgia. Especially in the last 2 years, the relationship between Georgia and Israel became very strong. The fact that Israeli government decided to abolish the visa regime proves that this relationship is getting better and better and stronger. Since 2014, our citizens have been traveling to Israel without visa. So once again, it is a great demonstration of our friendship. The Georgia-Israeli relationship, dear friends, has deepened on many fronts, especially economically. We recently re-established the Israeli Georgia Business Council, which will facilitate even more cooperation. The trade is growing, the number of tourists is growing, and I want to tell you that for the Israeli traveler, Georgia is just 2 hours away. And I want to tell you that, we should tell our friends in America, and you should tell our friends in America and Israel how wonderful your trip here has been, and tell them to come see for themselves. And as I close, I want to tell you very honestly that when I was asked to join you this evening, I said, yes, I want to join you because you are our friends. America and Israel are our friends, and we really appreciate and we are extremely grateful for everything you've done for us, for our country, for our people. and for everything you're doing for us. So I want to thank you for your support to my country and to my people. And after you leave Georgia, many of you will return to your, to other pursuits. And I hope that during your stay in Georgia, you will see what a wonderful country Georgia is, how much we value our relationship with the United States, with Israel, and how much potential we have to be, I would say, a bastion of democracy, freedom, and progress in such a difficult region. So here's my request. Just do one thing to help Georgia continue to modernize when you go home. It can be big or it can be small. Just telling your friends back home about us is very important. So I want to thank you again for coming here in Georgia. And I wish, and I hope that I will see you again in Tbilisi. Thank you.
Just tell you a little story about this, if you could stay up here for one more minute. As you know, the city of Jerusalem has been the spiritual center of the Jewish people for 3,000 years. The very word Jerusalem creates profoundly mystic emotions in the hearts of hundreds of millions of Christians, Muslims, and Jews throughout the world. But here in Georgia, less than 20 kilometers away from where we stand, there is a city established 2,600 years ago that is known as the Second Jerusalem. And that city gave refuge to Jewish exiles of biblical times and was the beginning of one of the oldest surviving Jewish communities in the world. Jews became part of the Georgian culture and were always treated as family with friendship and respect. We are thankful to you, Mr. Prime Minister, for continuing in that tradition, as well as for your efforts to strengthen the ties with the State of Israel. We are honored that you are meeting with us today, and we would like to present you with this globe of Jerusalem. It's very light, which will hopefully serve as a reminder of our admiration for you, for the Georgian people, and for our mutual history. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.